Alex, first of all, thanks for talking to us. Just your overall assessment of how your boys have performed.
I think they competed terrifically throughout the game. The first 15 minutes was a whirlwind, wasn't it? They were throwing everything at us. We got lots of luck in terms of the ball dropping in the box and missing some gilt-edged chances. And the intensity was just too much for us, so we very quickly realised we had to switch to a back three. Patterson running through the middle alongside Berahino and Gregory was giving us all sorts of problems, and we just couldn't narrow off the full-backs quick enough, so we had to go as a back three, obviously go wing-back to wing-back and hold the middle of the pitch and let them come on to us to a certain point before we could apply some pressure. It levelled out, didn't it, after the first 15 minutes, and we gained some control in terms of not allowing them to enter our box as much as they did in the first 15. Couldn't get any moves going, didn't pass the ball well enough. And if you do all of those things, it actually takes the pressure away from you, because when you have the ball, they can't hurt you, can they? So that was the disappointing thing in a sense for the first half. But what they did do was respond terrifically to all the challenges that were thrown at them, and they competed and threw bodies on the line, and that's all you can ask. It's an unbelievable environment for them to come and play in. Don't know how many are in here tonight, but they made a lot of noise. So their thinking and their mentality can often be affected by the noise around them, because it's hard for us to get messages onto them, but as I say, they adapted brilliantly, and it'll stand them in good stead.
And how cruel it was in the end for all the hard work you did, all the change to the system, all your personnel that you used, that you got done at the end by, unfortunately, a penalty you gave away. It's
ironic, isn't it, all the pressure we've had to withstand, and look, we were going to have to withstand pressure here. The only goal came from a penalty. We haven't conceded from open play. Now, we didn't concede from open play because there were some terrific blocks in there. We defended the box well. We knew we would have to defend a lot of crosses. They put in more crosses than anyone in this league with the two wing-backs. And from that perspective, we did terrifically well. As I say, the only disappointment is we couldn't get a football going early enough. The last 20 minutes, we started to make some passes and move across the pitch to allow us to then get up into wider areas. But it didn't really culminate in enough shots at goal at all. Which is obviously the thing that we need to work on, but we're work in progress, and those sort of things will start to develop the more we do more work with them out on the training ground.
There was 22,500 spectators, 22,000 of them probably all thought this was going to be a foregone conclusion with the result. Would you think that after everybody's watched it and seen what's gone on, your side gained some respect, even though they haven't got a result out of the game?
I'd certainly hope so, Graham. We will never accept a defeat. We will never accept a defeat. But the silence in there at the end from the defeat tonight was a different type of silence to many of the silences you get in our changing room after the results we've had this season when we've lost. That silence was because they didn't have anything else to give. And whilst I will never accept a defeat, there's manners of defeat, isn't there? And I've said many times here over the last few days, as long as they show that desire and that dedication to show passion and honour in the shirt, then we can't ask any more. The other bits come from little bits of quality higher up the pitch, and that's down to the individual's capability there and then. Those sort of things obviously play out a little bit better when you've got players who are confident and have greater belief. Some of them aren't quite there with that, but they're certainly starting to develop that, which will hopefully give us more of a goal threat in the final two games.
It's rare that it's an unchanged side that's been named. It's gone on and on and on with many changes to the system. Do you feel that those players that you picked deserve that opportunity again tonight?
Yeah, we did. Obviously, consistency is important in terms of players getting a run of games, but also there were considerations for players that were on the bench coming into the team. There were a couple of reasons why we didn't decide to go with that. We needed energy from the sides, which is why we went with the same team, and we knew that we were going to have to make all three substitutions tonight because of the way that the game was going to go. We would have hoped that some of them wouldn't have been enforced changes, which happened with Raheem and Josh. They both were suffering from cramp and a pull respectively, which limited obviously when we could make the changes, because we had ideas in terms of when we wanted to make those changes, but sometimes football doesn't go to plan and you have to react intuitively to what happens there and then, don't you?
When you come to a place like this, unfortunately it's not going to happen next season, but how much can it whet the appetite of those players that you're going to have with you next season? What is coming away from you, unfortunately?
They have to, don't they? Footballers have to have a motivation in so many ways, and if they have ambition, and we'll make sure these players have plenty of ambition, both for the club collectively and for their own individual careers next year, they have to use this as a benchmark to where to get back to. And doing well next season will give them a better opportunity with us, hopefully, of playing in these types of stadiums, if not the next year, then certainly at some point in the near future.
We'll talk more about the next game that's coming up later in the week, but you're talking about Sheffield Wednesday, it's gone by now. Another one's coming on Saturday in your final home game. Once again, it's another real benchmark. It's Ipswich Town, of course, who've been glory days for them a few years ago. Yeah,
that's right, and I'll go back to what I just said about manner of defeats. That manner of the defeat tonight will still give us plenty of confidence and a spring and a step going into Saturday. Because they've done lots of good things tonight, lots of good things. Not everything, and as I say, they're not at the stage yet where they can put in a complete performance. There's going to be bumps on the road along the way, but we're aiming to get into a position where they can be consistent enough to put on almost complete performances every week, if not every other week. And on those occasions when they don't put in complete performances, they still compete and stay in games. So the momentum built from the last two games has been really pleasing, and it should give us every confidence going into Saturday. I said to them in there, I'm looking forward to Saturday for so many reasons. They're going to bring a good crowd. I would hope and expect our crowd would have liked what they've seen over the last couple of games and be buoyed by that. And I'm anticipating a good atmosphere on Saturday where we're going to give it a right good go.